Hi there and welcome back, dear friends and deep thinkers. We're going to start with the Spider's Web here, a challenge for the Crucible. The Spider Matriarchs and their respective broods have woven their ambush, awaiting a contender brave or foolish enough to venture into that trap. And you notice this is sped up, because I've lost all the sounds from this. Few creatures kill with the cold intentionality of the spider. Seek the proper unraveling of the brood. So I lost all the audio. I have no idea why. But I will explain to you. These were very, very long fights, and so it's also kind of a blessing to have sped it up. I'll explain to you what happens here. Okay, we have these spiderlings, and we have the spiders. And these spiderlings and the spiders are connected. But first we want to look up at the strengths and weaknesses of the spiders. They have a good accuracy, they have a good health, but they have low crush and burn resistance. They're pretty resistant to slash for some reason, and they have low will and fortitude. With the dire weaverling it's even crazier, and they also have the juvenile venom, whatever that does, and the bigger weavers, level 18 mothers of them, they even have better things, right? They're a lot more, a lot stronger. Now, they can do some webbing, and they will attack, but they have something special that we'll notice over the combat. So we want to be sure that we have the right things against them, right? A lot of fire is what we need. And maybe looking into other special things that we can go for. But charming them is not really what we need. We have Betrayal here. It's a nice trinket, but apparently it's usually better against something else than spiders. You rather kill a spider than charm it. There are, I mean, from the will they have, it's actually pretty good. So we want crushing weapons, as they are weak to crushing, so in general we want that. We have nothing against beasts, as you could see. We quickly looked into that, and we're just looking around so everyone gets their crushing weapons active, because crushing is apparently what gets them going. So we still have the superb scepters, and they're very good damage. I mean, they're not special, but Adonan can do a lot of good damage with these things. It's pretty amazing, actually, what he can do. And Maliora is also a great scepter for that. And Frostseeker, yeah, not so much. Even though Frostseeker would do area damage, spiders against cold is not the best choice. We could have used it, but it's not needed. So what we want to do is we want to get into a position that makes us safe from the other spiders. That's the original plan. You will see how that will work out. Because it's a really interesting encounter, and we're, for the first time in history, we're setting a trap, right? So we're setting a trap here. We'll see how that works out. I mean, I've never used traps, even if we have high mechanics, because I think they have a lot of impact that is unintentional often. They're just not easily controlled and controllable. I don't think they're really that great. You can see that there's the little Porokoa following us around, the little crocodile, which is pretty cool. Now we're getting in position, right? And there's a lot of dire weavers and dire weaverlings. So we want to get our vulnerable people behind the wall, and we'll see if that's a good tactic, or if these spiders will have ranged attacks. So, getting us some spells in, hopefully. But first we want support from our spiritual friends, as you can see here. And yeah, the summons. The summons are also always a good choice at the start of the combat, right? You know that. And there's the spiderlings. And now we want to make relatively much a wall. And we're trying to target the spiderlings, and hit them and take them down. And you should really look at the Weaverlings and what they do, because there's something very critical about that. Something extremely important that we'll notice after a while. And that is, can you see that? These Weaverlings are healed by 127, like every round. And that is actually connected, which we'll try out after a while. It's connected. It's not something inherent to them. It could have been inherent to them. I mean, they're very easy to hit. The task would just be burn them down in one round, like, or 2 rounds with the maximum amount of damage. But no, that's not it. It's actually something different. And that will be the first approach we try. We try to like bombard them, take them down. But there's more to that. I mean, we have the ability to get over 127 damage per round, but it's a little bit tiresome to do that, right? But still, increasing our damage potential is a good thing, and we'll do that. With the Dire Blessing, we increase our awareness and our perception, and so we hit just better. And we also have more criticals and things like that, so... and there's that. Adonan is doing the work, and for now we are concentrating on the Spiderlings. We'll see if we can take them down, but they get a lot of healing. As you can see, they spew webs and can get wire weave in, which is mainly immobilizing. We actually managed, in spite of the healing, to take one of these down. Now we need to get Lord Paw over, but you can see that the wall doesn't do anything because they can just shoot over that. The Weaverlings and also the big Dire Weavers. And what is happening here is that the Spiderlings and the spiders, they are connected. And we'll find that out soon. Currently targeting everything, because you'll see that the big spiders do not get healed. Usually, the best tactic usually for these encounters in Pillars of Eternity 2 is to take down the adds and then take down the big ones. So first take down the ones that do rather little damage but are easy to hit and easy to take out, and then you take down the others. The bigger ones, the harder to hit ones. But this fight is different to that. Okay, so Lord Paw went down. What we're doing here is we're placing another wall, which is actually a mistake, because you can only have one wall per wizard there. So for some moment I forgot that, and it was just a terrible idea to do that, because the Wall of Many Colors actually does a lot more damage and effects than the Wall of Fire. The Wall of Fire just does a little bit of damage, and it's kind of useful at the start, but it's not nearly as powerful as the Wall of Many Colors. The Wall of Many Colors is a boon. It's really something great to have, while the Wall of Fire is a so-so thing. So we've got to get a little bit different things going instead, and we need to save also Quoril Yogsword, because you can see that also our spiritual friend here is actually paralyzed and cannot heal. It was what we wanted him to do, but you can also see something that is quite common actually in the turn-based version of the game, that some of the spiders don't make their way there, and I think that's exclusive to the turn-based thing. You have and now we're doing the Wall of Many Colors again because it didn't work. So what you have here is you cannot really count on all in the Crucible to attack you at once, which is what they, I think, should do. Now that is the advantage of the turn-based thing, but that's mainly in encounters that are rather easy anyways. And the problem is, the big encounters against the bosses, you have the big disadvantage of turn-based, and that is you cannot run from some abilities that are like directed to a certain area usually, and that will affect anyone who stays in that area very harshly. And that is the big thing about the mega bosses, and that is why I cannot recommend playing turn-based. Yeah, it will be laughably easy sometimes, especially in these crucible encounters, but others will be nearly undefeatable, because if you just roll a bad initiative, you just cannot get away from an effect, while when you're playing real time with pause, you can always stop what you're doing and then run out of the area, or at least most of the times. So I recommend turn-based rather for, well, at least not full scaling on or something like that. Oh, yes, you can see here that we're quite doing a lot of damage with this area damage, which is actually not really sustainable, because what we should do is target the Dire Weavers. Because if you get the Dire Weavers down, the mothers of the Dire Weaverlings, then the Dire Weaverlings that are connected to the spiders, they won't get healing anymore. So if you kill the big ones first, then the small ones won't receive their healing. So what you need to do is you need to block the little ones while your ranged people, or while you with ranged damage take out the Dire Weavers. And when you take out the Dire Weavers that are doing like also the web spells and stuff, then you can easily take out the little ones, because they won't get healed anymore, and will be so much faster. I mean, if we can one-hit the Dire Weaverlings, there are certain builds that apparently can't do that, then all the power to you. But the main thing here, and yeah, I'm using the strongest spell here, right, that we have. Destroy the spiders like the meteor shower. That's a lot of fire damage that's coming down, and that's gonna hurt the Dire Weavers especially very, very much. And that's really good here. So boom, as you can see here, that was to a devastating effect from the damage, but still the Direlings, the Weaverlings are gonna get healed. So that's rather the problem here, right? So you just have to bomb down on them, and then focus them down with, for example, your ranger like Cailvassa or something. And the other ones only really have the task to hold off the small spiders from you for the time until you have down the big ones. Yeah, these down there, they don't do anything. That's the thing, and you can see that we're getting pretty down here. But here the meteor shower just does great damage, and two of the big ones have been destroyed, and you can see that they even spawn new ones, if I'm not mistaken. So they will spawn new little spiders there. Now, Deathring is also good against these, because it also has the chance against some to destroy them. And you can see that if you destroy the big spiders, there's like 2 or 3 little spiders coming out of them, and they're quite tough. But when they don't heal, as you can see here, some of them have already started to not heal anymore. But there's one healer at the right side of the screen that is still there, and so some of them receive heals, and you can see that from Mother's Recovery on the spider's body. That's an effect on them. If they have Mother's Recovery, they will get these 127, in my case, hit points per round healed, and that's gonna counter a lot. But if they don't have that, they actually go down pretty quickly, and then their poison and all kinds of things like that won't be such a big problem anymore. So it's all good. Yeah, we're losing even the fan of flames here. just to take down these very, very low weaverlings. And to a good effect, I think. It's just... Even these low-level spells, I mean, they have kind of awkward angles, right? But they're doing relatively good damage still, even on higher levels. They're certainly better than the Wall of Fire. That is a little bit weak. We're healing from time to time. We're doing, you can see here, boom. That was, I mean, Fan of Flames is a level 1 spell. That's just pretty good. Now we have charmed some of them. Why was that? Because I think we have a Scepter here with Gurstine. And when you crit a spell, it has the chance to get another random spell out against the enemies. And that's what happened. Now we're gonna also grill Kevaver a bit with that. But it will surely miss him, or it might not be that important. He can take that. He can take that, and we'll just destroy these weaverlings step by step now. And actually planned. I think though there's still this little spider over there. Is it still there? So yeah, it's still there. It's still there, and that's critical because you'll see that we should really have downed that spider first before trying to take down the weaverlings. Of course, you can also do it step by step. You can see at the spiderlings which ones have like that mother's healing or mother's regeneration, and which ones not. And you can then like always like take down one, then take out the affected spiderlings that don't have healing anymore, because they're quicker to take down and they do quite a lot of damage. And then like make such a kind of ping pong strategy that makes sense. But what you should not do is like usually pound on the weaverlings without touching the big ones. It's really the methodical approach is just take out the big ones, then take out the small ones, block the small ones until the big ones are done. And that's a relatively good approach. But as you can, as I said, you can also mix it out. And now we're taking out the other spider. A thing that I've recently come to do is, thanks to our black jacket classes, like the fighter classes we have, Kevaver has this, but also Adonan, we can switch freely between weapons in turn-based, and that's the big thing about a black jacket and turn-based. That's just a big advantage. Like combining with a black jacket fighter class is just really good because you can switch back and forth between your defensive weapons and melee weapons and your ranged weapons. That leads to an increased ability to focus down. Like you can focus down anything, and that's just something that you need to do, or you need to be able to do for like a good fight. It's also, I would also recommend it in real time with pause, but it's just so easy, like in turn-based with Black Jacket, because it doesn't need any resource to change between weapons. So, and that's a difference to real time with pause, and that's just extremely good. It's extremely good for us. So the last thing is just about executing the rest of the spiders, and then everything will go well. As you can see, we're in a pretty good position already. We'll take down the spiderling and so on. And we just saw that this one has still Mother's Recovery, so we first want to take down the Mother. And we're now using all of our abilities, because there's no incentive to preserve them anymore, right? There's not a big surprise enemy hopefully coming. I mean, there could be, but so I'm always a little bit careful, but we can speed it up a bit. And there's always a possibility that after a while there comes another wave, or that there's like a big boss spawning or something like that, because some of these waves are really, really long. You'll see that in other fights that there is, especially when you go Path of the Damned and full upscaling for everything. And some of these fights are meant for like level 16, 17 and so on. 17 and so on. And the way that they managed it in the Crucible from time to time is that they increase the number of waves. So apparently like they increase the number like from the like from average difficulties would be 4 waves, and then you have 6 waves and even more monsters to cover all of that. So what you must learn there, and that's especially true of the survivor path, is conserve your resources. Only use what is necessary, not what finishes the fight quickest, which is what you would do in a fight like out there in the open. You always have to account for something coming up there, something new, screwing you over, something surprisingly coming over and taking you apart. Something else, something dangerous, something completely different, something that will need your resources. So what I'd recommend in general as a fighting strategy, it makes the game a little slower. It's just meant for really Path of the Damned and maximum upscaling. Not for anything else, is that you really conserve your resources until it's like clear that there's nothing else coming anymore. So you need to build a party that can survive without most resources. Like you would use someone with a crossbow to interrupt spells, or you would take abilities that can interrupt spells that are of a very low level, so they don't use up many resources. And the actual thing that you want from the abilities at this level is only really the ability to interrupt spells. Yeah, they do some damage, yeah, they might slow down or debuff the opponent, but the crucial thing is that you can interrupt abilities or spells. That is the main thing. That is the real big winner. That is something you should look out for. And that is something to build your characters around. It's just beautiful. And if you do that, then you really don't need that many buffs. I mean, you need a lot of buffs with the mega bosses. I've been increasingly frustrated with turn-based and the mega bosses because it's just so unbalanced. You've seen it that we didn't get attacked by the dire weaverlings here. That's one example of it. The other example is, of course, the opposite, that something becomes nearly indefeatable. And that's actually also relatively common. So the turn-based mode is really enjoyable if you love turn-based. I really love turn-based because it's so methodical. It has something chess-like, but really what it does in the effect here, at least on the highest difficulty with full upscaling, it makes the game more extreme. So some fights get extremely hard and some fights get laughably easy. And so while I enjoy like the average fights or the little harder fights or something like that, and the positioning and everything, that's all masterfully done. And also how the enemies behave in general is masterfully done. What I think is that it's just not balanced enough, right, for that. It's just yeah, it's just another experience. And here we got the coil. Now you get that coil quest, and that will really also help you a bit, like when something goes wrong. And if you always return to kneel and wear it again and so on, then you get something like this, Liquid Adra. A beautiful thing, we gave it to Adonan. It's something random though, it can also be bad, very, very rarely. You should wear it like in there. It's a good girdle. I gave it to Cailvassa because it is just so much easier. No harm done, man. No harm done. My sincerest apologies. Is there anything do for you? Of course. Of course. And we're going through here. But here's actually only potions, and you know me and potions. Me and potions don't really come together. Yeah, I use healing potions, and sometimes I use other potions, but yeah. In general, the thing that puts me off potions is that they cost rounds here in turn-based. So thank you for watching, and happy gaming to you. It was great fun doing this together with you. Have a great time until next time, and happy gaming. This is Manuel Khan signing out. See you soon, and happy gaming. There will be the next 4 in this manner, because the audio has been irreplaceably deleted. I'm sorry for that. See you soon, and happy gaming.